that's the model.
Whoa.
Crazy to do. One of my more dangerous things that I did. This is the beginnings of me coming up with the whole virtual cinematography that I did for Avatar.
You helped build the virtual production pipeline for that movie.
Yeah.
And I'm just very curious what that means. Hey, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Visual Effects Artist React. Today we are joined by Academy Award winner Rob Legato. He's worked on Avatar, Jungle Book, Lion King, and today we're gonna dive into those movies and hear a bunch of behind the scenes stories from Rob himself. So you worked on the movie The Aviator as the VFX supervisor on it.
I had a ball working on this movie. We had very little money to do it in, and I decided that I couldn't compete with like a Michael Bay movie or these incredible CG shots. And one of them is, since I was shooting all miniatures, for the most part you can't do crazy camera moves because you're shooting at like 40 frames a second. So I used the Alfred Hitchcock thing, is that you could create the sense of rhythm and speed by cutting. By editing, create the sensation of a camera move by cut from one shot to the next. And then it turned out to be better than if I did it the other way, because it was just telling the story, what it must feel like to be in that plane at that particular moment, and not doing crazy camera flips and all the rest of the stuff. So.
You guys flying a helicopter for those aerial shots?
No, that's the spider cam. This was straight cable cam, where I put the tower here and the tower here, and we actually just took a camera and just like drove it right into the house. A famous agent called me up and told me how much he loved the shot of the details of the thing going through the tile roofs. This is miniature, and I put the guy in the, matted him into the corner there.
Yeah, because I wanted to know how the house got like all destroyed, because it looks full scale.
It's not. It's a forklift.
It's an actual forklift.
That's awesome.
So those are the good old days when you could do all that stuff. This ridiculous rig. So that's absurd looking.
The little propellers.
Look at the little propellers. Bob Richardson, a spectacular cameraman, just really great. And he was like, "What the is that?" And I said, "You have to look through the camera, because that's a hanging miniature. It's all set up for this vantage point of this camera. The camera has to be on nodal. So when you pan over to here, the miniature that it really is looks like it's a big thing over here. So only through the viewfinder of the camera, and he was not looking through the camera. He's going, "I can't shoot this. This is absurd. What the is wrong with you?" And he kept on going on. It's like, just look through the camera. Just look through the camera.
Oh, amazing.
And it was like, why is that? Look all right. But you have to mathematically measure, and those are quarter scale things. And I also used them for the plane, because we didn't have a lot of money for this movie. We did a lot of RC work as well.
That was a big RC plane.
Oh, that was the coolest thing. Crazy to do. One of my more dangerous things that I did.
Oh, that's the model.
Whoa.
Wow.
And so that literally has to be like literally right above my, it's within here. It's like right, the camera's here and it has to be there. And because the background is naturally the background, it looks like he's that high up in the air, but he's not.
So it's a model plane, so it's like roughly like 10 to 20 feet, somewhere in that range, right? And it's pretty close to camera at the end there. Now, if it was a full-scale plane, you're right, that'd be like 50, 100 feet away.
Yeah.
But that's real close. So speaking of Aviator, if you have any other movies that deal with really cool airplane sequences, leave a comment down below and we'll check it out.
This sucked.
So that's the CG plane right there?
Yeah.
It's not bad.
I designed the shot, but then I didn't like the way it came out. Now we can do it so much. I can do it in Unreal now much better than that. This is the beginnings of me coming up with the whole virtual cinematography that I did for Avatar.
You helped build the virtual production pipeline for that movie.
Yeah.
And I'm just very curious what that means, because at the time, that was something no one even understood.
So the idea was, if I could operate the camera live, you get things that you don't anticipate when you're following a shot. All of a sudden it does something, and you just make these decisions to pan or tilt, or even it's a mistake where the energy of the mistake is something you edit with. I'd piece it all together, and until I finally found something, the structure that I liked, I went, this is kind of a cool way of working. Because I could do it very fast. I went to Cameron and I said, because he had a lot of money. He just finished Titanic. And I figured, well, he might like this idea. And he was not going to do Avatar at the time. He was going to do a different movie, which was not a Jim Cameron movie. It was based on something else.
Battle Angel?
Battle Angel. And in the meantime, I was showing him this gag. I said, if we now got a motion capture stage, then I could handhold the camera and walk through the scene. I could see the actor live in my composite. I could do Steadicam. I could do a crane shot. I could do any shot I want. I could put the actor anywhere. He could be in the plane, and I could be photographing him as if he's 30 feet in the air or whatever. This is like the way you'd want to make a movie, especially if you're doing something that has a CG component to it. And so I showed it to Jim, and he got fascinated by it. And then at some point, it was like, maybe I can make the movie I want to make, which was Avatar, and not do Battle Angel. And that's ultimately what he did. So that was where that was born from.
Wait, so you convinced James Cameron to make Avatar?
No, I didn't. Okay.
You made Avatar? It was all you?
If you distilled that from that story, God bless you. Because I would call it Jim Cameron capture, because now he would grab the camera, he would edit the scenes, he would direct the motion, so it's actually capturing the verve of how he likes to make a movie. Other directors I work with certainly don't do that. They don't pick up their own camera, they don't edit their own films. So Jim is a special animal in that case. This is the setup where here's the camera, and when I look through it, I see all the elements I can now direct. And that's the part that became the exciting Simul-Cam portion of it, is that now you see it together, you're directing everything that's in the frame that otherwise you'd have to guess at and then try to post-animate later. And the idea that you could edit as you're shooting. That is something that also appealed to him, is that now I could set up my scene and then go, oh, I cut it together, I should get another close-up, I get another wide shot, I should now it's like what you can't do in live action is what you can do in this world, and you have instant gratification. So that kind of complexity is how his brain works, and and I knew that from working with him, that he would like it, and obviously he did.
VFX in film is a multifaceted art form that has a long-standing, deep-rooted history, and as you know from the show, we do deep dives into all of those concepts. But when was the last time you did a deep dive into your own family history and origin? Thanks to today's sponsor, MyHeritage, I was able to do exactly that. So if you didn't know, MyHeritage is the #1 family history service. Trusted by 90 million users, MyHeritage is home to more than 19 billion easily searchable historical records, as well as advanced AI tools to repair, enhance, colorize, and even animate historical photos. Getting started with MyHeritage is pretty simple. You just start with your name and birth date, and if you can, your parents' names and birth dates. And it automatically starts scouring these records to find matches. Thanks to their instant discovery tool, I was linked with my distant relative, Blaine Fergerstrom. Crazy story about that. My distant relative, who I've never been in contact before, he actually has a website that he built himself that has been tracking our lineage, the Fergerstrom family lineage, all the way back to like the 40s. Well, MyHeritage found that website, and I was able to download the file, add all of the research he's already put into my MyHeritage family tree. It added 40 members to my family that I didn't even know existed from my whole Hawaiian side of the family. He actually reached out to me on Facebook, and I'm literally talking to a family member I've never talked to before, and that's just kind of shows the power of this tool. It's kind of wild. There's a lot of other cool tools that MyHeritage does. This picture of my grandpa was automatically added to his profile from what MyHeritage found. Well, using their AI photo enhancement tools, this photo looks now brand new, and it helps kind of preserve and update that history. So building my family tree has been really fun for me. It's actually cool to just see it grow and see where I sort of come from and all the branches of my family history. But if you want to go even deeper than that, they do offer DNA tests so you can get deeper into your genealogy and where you come from. So it's been a really eye-opening experience watching my family tree grow. And if you have any interest in doing that for yourself, head to that link in the description below to start your 14-day free trial with MyHeritage. That's enough family history. Let's get back into the film history.
So did you help develop the Simul-Cam system as well?
Yeah, well, the Simul-Cam was super easy. It's again because
just an extension of it?
All it is an extension of it is because I'm photographing you. I'm on this stage and you're here, and if I want the CG creature to be over here, he's over here, and we're putting it together. We're marrying it in the scene. And so wherever I'm panning this camera, it's panning that camera, and now I could direct where you're looking. and you could walk around and see stuff. What it had that was good, which is now coming into vogue, is with the Quest things, is that now you can see where you're walking and not be totally encased, and you could then see what you're supposed to be looking at. So we sort of forged ahead and did something, but it was a little too cumbersome to use. It's like we don't really need it, and it became one of those things where it sounds good, but I always wanted to do it. That intrigued me, and I used it to great effect in Lion King, when we did Lion King. So everything you're seeing here is the sum total of everything that we've learned on these other movies, and my particular bent on trying to recreate real life. I like the freedom and the happy accident I get when I shoot for real, because a lot of times I'll shoot a shot and be like, I didn't know it was going to look like that. What we did is we set it up so that now we have the devices of how you would shoot a live action movie. Dolly track, camera assistant, crane, all that stuff was all set up. We have the animation blocked out more like a stage play, and you start saying, okay, well, what are they doing? It's a walk and talk. Let's start with a walk and talk, so you do a Steadicam shot. Caleb and I would set up shots that he would operate 15, 17 times until he found the rhythm that felt like it was a shot that he would have done for real. Like that little move, it's just like, that's a very simple little thing that you never question, because that's what you would do if that actor were there on the day. And you feel like there's a live person behind the camera. These guys really love it, because now they get to try out their idea that you're not limited by when the sun's going down, and if I do one more take, we won't be able to get to the other setup, and this will happen, and this will happen. You excites your imagination.
So you won an Academy Award for working with James Cameron, then you won another Academy Award working with Martin Scorsese, then you won another Academy Award working with Jon Favreau. What was it like working with him?
And knew that he wanted to make Jungle Book with the same sort of style that one would have made Avatar, except now you have more live action things, and that the dictate was he wants to shoot it in Los Angeles on a blue screen stage. All right, I could come up with that. We sort of got enamored with parkour stuff. And parkour stuff was very simply wrought. It's basically a wide-angle lens and you just get him on camera. So I motion captured him. I then ran with a camera with a 16mm lens on it to shoot it. And so I'm doing exactly what the parkour stuff is. And I'm running the opposite direction to give it this kind of quality of that feeling.
What we're seeing in the final movie is a CG Mowgli?
Yes.
Doing that?
Yes. The other one I want to show you is the turntable gag that we did. We need to shoot a scene where the kid could walk for a distance, and I didn't want to do a treadmill because A, it had to be quiet for one, and two, I wanted to be able to do this endless walk and talk where you're stepping on uneven ground. It was fun. That's it.
There it is.
Whoa!
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the turntable gag.
What's the person in the blue screen suit doing?
He's the bear. He's poking at him and doing stuff. We had Henson puppeteers be on the set with the kid who knew how to kind of entice him and change up the dialogue and do stuff to have him interact and be engaged. And when we didn't have him, his performance was flatter. And so they had these little things that would be the eyeballs on their knuckles. So Jungle Book had a lot of kind of cleverisms in there. And of course I had people say when I did the turntable, that's not going to work. It's like, how could it not work? It's a turntable. Jesus Christ. What could go wrong?
What could go wrong is the fact that I've never thought about this before, so therefore it can't work.
Can't work.
Yeah, speaking of Jon Favreau, we would love to have him on the couch here, so subscribe and maybe someday we'll make that happen.
What's the difference between working with like an auteur director versus just somebody who's directing a commercial or a project?
Well, the common trait, which I sort of have to some degree too, why I appreciate it, is the ball's enough to do something they've never done before. There's something about that I like. When you're working with people like that, like I've been very fortunate, like especially working with Marty, is that there's certain things that he doesn't like to do or want to do or invest in the effort it takes to actually figure out every gag and what you're doing, that it's like, I trust you, you do it. They're all slightly different, but they all have the same thing, is that their ego isn't greater than the film's ego. If it's a good idea, it's going in the movie.
It's been really unique having you join us on the couch. You have such a, I guess, this unique point of view of like the camera in my hands, crafting a shot that's going to leave an emotional impact, that's going to stick with you afterwards.
When I came to do this stuff, I had a firm thing in photography before I entered into the digital world, so what I could bring from that to here was applicable. There's other people like Ken Ralston and Dennis Murin. They sort of bridge the gap as well, and I always try to tell the other supervisors I work with to be more hands-on and to go shoot. Grab a camera, go outside and shoot it.
But this is super cool. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Robert.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for watching. This was a really fun episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next week in the next episode of VFX Artists React.